Good morning or afternoon, whatever time it is that you are watching. I hope that you all had a great weekend. It is Monday, and we are going to jump right in this morning with, I'm going to do a read aloud first. So I'm going to change things up a little bit week to week. So first, I would like to start with the story called A Weekend with Wendell. Since we just had a weekend, I thought it would be nice to read a story about the weekend. So if you look at the cover here, there's a couple of mice. So I'm going to assume that our characters in this story are a couple of mice. One of them being named Wendell, because the story is called A Weekend with Wendell. Our author is Kevin Hanks. And the author, if you remember, is the person that writes the words of the story. On Friday afternoon, Wendell's parents dropped him off at Sophie's house. "Wendell's going to spend the weekend with us," said Sophie's mother, "while his parents visit relatives out of town." "Oh, boy," said Wendell. Sophie didn't say anything. After a snack, Sophie helped Wendell carry his sleeping bag and suitcase upstairs. "Well, what are we going to do now? Do you have any toys?" asked Wendell. Sophie pointed to her toy chest. "Is that all you've got?" said Wendell. "I've got 1,000,000 times more than that. What else is there to do around here?" "We could play house," said Sophie. "Only if I can make the rules," said Wendell. Well, that doesn't seem very nice. Wendell seems not very nice to Sophie. So they played house and Wendell made the rules. He was the father, the mother, and all of the 5 children. Sophie was the dog. Take a look at that picture. Sophie does not look very happy. Then they played hospital. Wendell was the doctor, the nurse, and the patient. Sophie was just the desk clerk. My goodness, Wendell needs to learn to be nicer. When they pretended they worked in a bakery, Wendell was the baker and Sophie was just the sweet roll. "Isn't this fun?" said Wendell. Sophie didn't say anything. It does not look like she's having much fun. After dinner, Wendell said he was allergic to anything green, so he didn't have to eat his vegetables. And then, when Sophie wasn't looking, he scooped the whipped cream off of her dessert. How rude. "When is Wendell leaving?" whispered Sophie. "Soon," said her mother. "Soon," said her father. After Sophie's parents tucked Sophie in her bed, zipped Wendell in his sleeping bag, kissed them both, and turned off the light, Wendell grabbed his flashlight and shone it right up on Sophie's eyes. "See you tomorrow," he said, smiling. Sophie shut her eyes. "I can't wait for Wendell to go home," she said to herself. On Saturday morning when Sophie woke up, there was a lumpy blue monster jumping up and down on her bed. It was Wendell. She felt something pinch her leg at breakfast. It was Wendell. Wendell needs to be taught some manners. She heard scary noises coming from the broom closet. Guess what? It was Wendell. Wendell used Sophie's crayons and left them on the porch so they melted. My goodness. At lunch, Wendell finger painted with his peanut butter and jelly. "Isn't this fun?" said Wendell. Sophie didn't say anything. "When is Wendell leaving?" whispered Sophie. "Soon," said her mother and father. At bedtime, when Sophie put her head on her pillow, she heard something crunch. It was a note from Wendell. It said, "See you tomorrow." Sophie shut her eyes. "Oh, I can't wait for Wendell to go home," she said to herself. Before Wendell's parents picked him up on Sunday morning, he tried to make a long-distance call. He wrote his name on the bathroom mirror with toothpaste. Oh my goodness. And he gave Sophie a new hairdo with shaving cream. "Want to go outside to help me wash this off?" asked Sophie. "We could play firefighter." "Oh boy," said Wendell. So they played firefighter, and Sophie made the rules. She was the fire chief, and Wendell was the burning building. "Isn't this fun?" said Sophie. Wendell didn't say anything. "Do I get to be the fire chief?" asked Wendell. Maybe, said Sophie. Soon, Wendell and Sophie didn't care who was the fire chief or who was the burning building. So it looks like they're starting to play nice together, because Sophie stood up for herself. Time to go, said Sophie's mother and father. Already, said Wendell. Already, said Sophie. When is Wendell coming back, asked Sophie. Never, said her mother and father. That afternoon, when Wendell unpacked his suitcase, he heard something crunch. It was a note from Sophie. It said, I hope I see you soon. The end. So, friends, what I took away from that story is Sophie is a very, very big person for giving Wendell another chance at being friends. Even though Wendell was so mean and didn't let her be in charge of any games, and he was kind of selfish and destructive, and he was making their house an absolute mess, Sophie still gave him another chance to be friends. And it seems like Wendell understood a little bit that you kind of need to play nice with everybody, and you need to take turns and share. So those are like part of our classroom rules, right? We like to share and respect our others and friends. It does not seem like Wendell was respecting Sophie during that story. So it seems like by the end, he did a little bit better job of respecting her. I like that story. I really liked how Sophie at the end kind of took charge and said, listen, we can play fire, but I'm the chief. And I think that really kind of taught Wendell a lesson. All right, everybody, let's move on to calendar. We are already 7 minutes into our meeting, and I don't want it to go any longer, so I'm going to try and get this done very quickly. We'll start off with our letter of the day. This week we are going to be doing letter locks to do our letter sounds, and I'm also going to write them on the board. So our letter today, since the day is Monday, our letter is going to be M. M makes the sound like monkey. All right, so to write the letter M, we're going to make a straight line down, pick up our pen, come back to the top, make a V, and then another line down. Okay, little m kind of looks the same, but it's a little bit different. They're not points at the top here. They're more of curved lines. So if you look here, this is what a little m looks like. Halfway down, we're going to come back around twice. Okay, so that's the letter M. And we are going to put our our key into our little lock. So here we have little m. Here we have big M. And as I said, it makes the sound like monkey. I'm going to put my key in. And it works. So we know that this is the little m and this is the big M. We're going to skip color of the day today because we are already at 8.5 minutes and I don't want to make you guys have to watch me for too long. All right, so let's take a look at our calendar. Like I said, today is Monday. Our month is still April. We need to figure out what numbers we need to fill in from the weekend. So if we start here at 15, we'll count on 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And what comes after 19, everybody? 20. So today is the 20th day of April. And it is Monday. So let's say the date all together. Today is Monday, April 20th, 2020. Alrighty. So we're going to jump right into weather. And then I have something I'd like to read to you really quickly before we're done. What's the weather outside? The season is spring. Please take a look outside your window and shout out. Tell me, what's the weather like today? Is it raining? Is it windy? Is it cloudy? What does the weather look like today on this Monday? All right, and our last activity for today, this is going to be your weekly reading. We're going to be reading about the coronavirus again. And this is just kind of going over some details as far as what germs are and what we can do to help keep our environment healthy and safe for everybody. So I'm going to go through this and read this aloud today. And then you guys are going to read it by yourselves or with your mom and dad or sister or brother for the rest of the week, okay? So I'm going to read it aloud to you today, and then tomorrow you're going to have to read it again and then answer some questions about it, okay? So, many people are sick with the coronavirus now. You can help stop the spread of coronavirus in many ways. Let's take a look at some of the ways that you can help. So the coronavirus is a germ. Germs are tiny organisms or living things that make you sick. They are so tiny that you need a microscope to see them. So if we're sitting at the table, you cannot see germs. They are on the table. They are on our fingers. They are everywhere. Germs can spread through the air from person to person. They spread with coughs and sneezes and other ways too. You can do many things to help stop the spread of germs like the coronavirus. So here, I would like you to look at this picture. It's a picture of a girl coughing. So she looks like she's feeling sick. I want you to describe a time when you were feeling sick. How did you feel? What types of things happened in your body? You might have been coughing. You might have had a really runny nose and have to blow your nose all the time. You might have felt really, really bad, like your body hurt. Those are all things. You might have had a headache, things like that. So describe a time when you were sick. What happened? So here's something that you can do to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. You can wash your hands often. Washing your hands is the best way to stop the spread of germs. So when you guys read this tomorrow with your families, I'm not going to read all this. I'm going to leave this up to you, but I want to go over these questions. When is another time that you need to wash your hands? Think about in school. When do we need to wash our hands? Not just to stop the spread of germs, but think about it. When you go to the bathroom, you always come out and wash your hands. Before lunchtime, we always wash our hands. What about if we were doing a painting activity and you got paint all over your hands? What would you do? That's right, you would wash your hands. And another way to stop the spread of the coronavirus is you can avoid touching your face. So you see this boy's got his fingers in his mouth. And remember how we talked about keeping our fingers out of our mouth because that brings a lot of germs into your body? So how can you remember to not touch your face? I'm doing it right now. I'm trying to remember not to touch close to my mouth. I'm tapping my ear instead. So, friends, this is the story that you're going to be reading weekly or this week, daily, and it's going to have some extension activities that you're going to do afterwards with it. I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible so that you guys are having an easy time at home getting all of your work done, okay? So that concludes our meeting for today. I promise this is going to be the longest one all week. I'm going to try not to make them so long. Today's story was a little bit longer, and I just wanted to kind of go over our story for the week. All right. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. And remember, excellence has no finish line.